The evening sun washed the highway in a soft amber glow as Toyin Morgan, the billionaire, political titan, and the man whose signature could tilt the balance of entire sectors, reclined in the back seat of his luxury wagon. The hum of the engine, steady and hypnotic, lulled him into a familiar place, one he rarely allowed himself to visit. A place of memory, a place of regret, a place where the name Hawa still echoed like a half-forgotten prayer. Toyin's eyes drifted shut, and the world around him dissolved into the dusty warmth of Kaduna, 1988, the year everything changed. He saw himself again, a lanky, bright-eyed teenager with dreams bigger than the city that raised him, and beside him, always laughing, always hopeful, was Hawa, his high school sweetheart. Their love had been reckless, innocent, and absolute, the kind of love that believed the world would bend to accommodate it. But the world did not bend. It broke. When Hawa became pregnant, both families erupted in fury. Her conservative household saw Toyin as a corrupting influence. His own parents feared scandal and the rising tide of Islamic violence sweeping northern Nigeria. Within weeks, the Morgans fled to Calabar for safety, leaving Toyin torn between loyalty and survival. Hawa, abandoned by circumstance, not by love, dropped out of school to prepare for childbirth. Toyin wrote letters, made calls, begged his parents to let him return, but fate had already begun its cruel work. Months later, just as he secured a prestigious scholarship to study in the United States, Toyin received the news that shattered him. Hawa had died during childbirth. The baby had not survived. He remembered he was at the library in Boston, grief swallowing him whole. He remembered the silence that followed, years of it. He remembered forcing himself to believe that destiny had chosen a different path for him. The memory tightened around Toyin's chest like a fist. Even now, decades later, the wound had not healed. It had simply learned to hide beneath the layers of power, wealth, and responsibility he carried like armor. A sharp vibration jolted him back to the present. His phone buzzed insistently. Toyin blinked, straightened, and answered.
Dad. The voice was unmistakable. Segun, his 20-something son, the regional managing director of Morgan Bank West, a position of enormous responsibility, a position Segun had not shown up for in 10 days. Toyin's jaw tightened. "Where are you?" he demanded, his tone already simmering with anger. Segun launched into a frantic complaint. His corporate credit card had been blocked. He blamed Amina Mohammed, the Morgan Group CFO, accusing her of trying to ridicule him. Toyin's irritation sharpened into fury. "What nonsense are you saying?" he snapped. "I approved no suspension, and if Amina took action, she must have had a damn good reason. Now answer me, where are you calling from?" Segun hesitated, a beat too long. "I'm in Paris," he lied smoothly, "working on a multi-million-dollar deal." But Toyin knew his son too well. The polished confidence, the evasive tone, it was the same pattern every time Segun got himself into trouble. What Segun didn't know was that one of Toyin's friends had spotted him days earlier at Heathrow Airport, looking anything but professional. Meanwhile, in reality, Segun was lounging in the dimly lit bar of a famous Parisian hotel, a glass of whiskey in hand, and a woman draped casually beside him. The only deal he was working on was avoiding responsibility. Toyin's patience snapped. "You have 48 hours," he said, voice low and dangerous, "to return to your post, or you are fired. I don't care if you are my son." He ended the call without waiting for a response. Across the ocean, Segun stared at his phone in disbelief. Panic crept in. His credit card was still blocked, his hotel bill was enormous, and now he had 48 hours to get back to work or lose everything. He signaled the waiter, bracing himself for humiliation. But instead, the waiter smiled politely. "Sir, your bill has been settled, charged to the Morgan Group account. An executive called to authorize it." Segun blinked. "Which executive?" "Amina Mohammed," the waiter replied. For a moment, relief washed over him. Then frustration surged back, hotter than before. Amina again. Always Amina. The woman his father trusted more than his own blood. The woman who seemed to appear everywhere he stumbled. The woman who, in his mind, was both his savior and his tormentor.
Toyin Morgan's white G-Wagon SUVs glided through the wrought iron gates of the Banana Island estate with the quiet authority of a man who owned more than half the street. The evening sun washed the sprawling villa in gold, illuminating its marble pillars and towering archways. The mansion, his mansion, rose like a modern white castle, serene on the outside, unaware of the storm brewing within. The butler, immaculate in a crisp black suit, stepped forward the moment the lead SUV stopped. He opened the massive front door with a practiced bow. "Welcome home, sir." Toyin nodded, stepping inside. Mercy was waiting. She stood at the base of the sweeping staircase, arms folded tightly across her chest. "Toyin," she said, her voice trembling with restrained fury, "we need to talk. Your precious Amina has embarrassed my son." Toyin frowned. "What are you talking about?" "Don't pretend you don't know," she snapped. "Segun's company credit card was blocked today. Blocked in public at a business lunch. Do you know how humiliating that is for the managing director of Morgan Bank West, Inc.? Toyin's jaw tightened. "It's a company card, Mercy. There's a security failsafe. If the system detects suspicious activity..." "Oh, so now you're accusing your own son of fraud? Your heir, the future head of the Morgan Group?" "I'm stating facts, Mercy. The system flagged something. Amina did her job." Mercy's eyes blazed. "Amina has no right to do anything to my son. She should understand that Segun will take over this company one day, and when he does, he will fire her. Do you hear me? Fire her." Toyin's patience snapped. "Segun is not a shareholder. Amina is. She earned her place. Your son hasn't." Mercy recoiled. "How dare you?" "How dare he," Toyin countered, "spend his days gallivanting around the world, partying, chasing women, posting nonsense online, instead of focusing on the business he claims he wants to inherit. If he keeps this up, I'll fire him myself." Mercy gasped dramatically. "You treat that woman, your little wife, better than your own children." "Don't start that again," Toyin warned. "Oh, I will," she shouted. "Everyone sees how you defend her, everyone. But when it comes to Segun and Lola, you only criticize." "Because they behave like spoiled children," Toyin snapped. "They're adults, Mercy. Adults who refuse to grow up." Mercy stepped closer, voice dropping to a venomous whisper. "You're jealous of your own son." Toyin stared at her. "Jealous of Segun?" "Yes, because he reminds everyone of who you used to be." The accusation hung in the air like smoke. "Mercy, don't push me." But she was already storming away, fury echoing through the mansion. "If you don't stop this madness, you'll lose your family." Toyin stood alone in the vast living room, the silence closing in around him. He exhaled deeply. "This family will be the end of me."
The argument with Mercy still echoed faintly in his mind, but he forced himself to focus on the plate before him. Peace, however, was short-lived. Lola swept into the room in a burst of perfume and glitter, dressed head to toe like she was stepping onto a red carpet. "Daddy, why were you and Mum shouting again?" Toyin waved a dismissive hand. "Ah, my dear, it's nothing. Just the usual back and forth between your mother and me. Don't worry yourself." He eyed her outfit more closely. "But what's going on? Why are you dressed like you're attending the Grammys?" Lola grinned. "I'm going to a party at the Monarch. One senator is hosting it for my friend from college." Toyin's expression darkened. "Lola, I've told you, I don't like this your habit of mixing with men older than me. It's all over social media that Toyin Morgan's daughter is dating men old enough to be her grandfather." She shrugged, unbothered. "Daddy, older men are kind, gentle, and if they're loaded like you, even better." Toyin snorted. "Well, I fit that category. Maybe I should—" "Daddy, please," she cut in sharply. "You don't qualify." He shook his head, half amused, half frustrated. "Fine. What about the project presentation in 5 days?" "Handled," she said. "My deputy will lead it." "Why?" Toyin demanded. "It's a $25 million construction. As chief architect of Morgan Estate, you should be there." "I'll be in Spain next week," she replied breezily. "Don't worry, my deputy is capable. And the company is my baby. Let me run it my way." She leaned down, kissed his forehead, and glided out of the room. Left alone, Toyin exhaled heavily, pulled out his phone, and dialed Mr. Moses. "Good evening," he said quietly. "We need to talk." The morning meeting in Chief Toyin Morgan's office unfolded with its usual mix of discipline and an undercurrent of unspoken tension. Amina Muhammad, his most dependable officer and the CFO of Morgan Group, entered with her customary poise. Toyin's eyes narrowed the moment he saw her. He had expected her earlier. Amina, unruffled, explained that she had only just returned from Abuja, adding with a dry hint of humor that unless he intended to loan her his private jet, there was no earthly way she could have arrived sooner. Toyin dismissed the joke with a wave, grumbling that if anyone overheard them, they would accuse him of running an executive shuttle service. Once she settled into the chair opposite him, the atmosphere shifted. Toyin leaned forward, his voice firm, demanding a complete account of the incident involving Segun's credit card. Amina delivered the report with crisp clarity. While attending a conference in Abuja, she received a fraud alert. Segun's card had been used in Paris. She attempted to reach him repeatedly, but, as Toyin muttered with irritation, Segun treated phone calls like optional chores. Following protocol, Amina suspended the card and traced the last legitimate transaction. The trail led to a luxury hotel in Paris. Toyin froze. He had been under the impression that his son was in London. When the hotel confirmed Segun's presence, Amina admitted she nearly fainted from disbelief. Thankfully, the bank maintained a corporate account with the hotel, allowing her to settle the charges quietly and avoid scandal. Toyin praised her efficiency, but the conversation drifted into familiar, uncomfortable territory. He once again hinted at blurring the lines between their professional and personal relationship. Amina, steady and respectful, reminded him of his own promise he would stop pursuing her once she joined Morgan Group, Inc. She saw him strictly as a father figure, nothing more. Toyin exhaled, conceding the point, and returned to business. He appointed her as the lead delegate for the upcoming Canadian Finance Summit. Amina accepted with calm assurance, promising to brief him fully once she was back in Abuja.
A couple of days later, Amina called her boss with a strained warmth, the kind that sits between apology and unfinished business. Amina's voice carried a quiet remorse as she greeted Chief Toyin Morgan. She moved straight to what weighed on her chest, an apology. She admitted she had snapped at him in his office, that her reaction had been unnecessary, and she wanted to make things right. Once the air cleared, she shifted to the real question troubling her. She needed clarity on why she had been chosen to lead the Canadian Finance Conference. In her understanding, Segun, as managing director, should have been the one heading the delegation. Toyin's response came with a familiar mix of irritation and resignation.
Segun, he said, was busy wasting time in Paris, indulging in frivolous activities. He dismissed his son as a spoiled ceremonial MD, someone who enjoyed the title but not the responsibility. Trying to offer a solution, Amina suggested she could return to Lagos and supervise the bank directly. Toyin shut the idea down immediately. Such a move, he warned, would scatter his family completely. His wife Mercy and Segun already believed Amina wielded too much influence. That suspicion was the very reason he had posted her to Abuja in the first place. "So what's the solution then?" she asked quietly. Toyin's answer was brief. He would handle it soon. He was in Ibadan for a meeting and needed to step away. Mercy was calling. Amina ended the call respectfully. Moments later, Toyin answered Mercy's incoming call. Her tone was breezy, affectionate. She needed the company's private jet to travel to Port Harcourt for a wedding. Lolo was returning from Spain and would join her, and afterward they planned to spend a few days at the Obudan ranch. Toyin approved everything without hesitation, wished her safe travels, and excused himself for his meeting. Mercy thanked him sweetly before ending the call.
The day had scattered the Morgan family across different corners of the world. Amina was deep into a high-level conference in Abuja. Chief Toyin Morgan was delivering a keynote at a prestigious financial presentation. Segun, ever unpredictable, was in Tokyo, chasing his own pleasures. And somewhere in Port Harcourt, his twin sister and their mother were dancing to a live band at a lavish wedding party. But now, away from the noise and glitter, mother and daughter sat together at the quiet ranch in Calabar, sipping chilled juice as the evening breeze rolled over the hills. "This is exactly what I needed today," the daughter sighed. "The juice is amazing, and the company is even better." Her mother smiled, but the girl's curiosity soon surfaced. "Mom, what's really going on between Dad and Amina? Are they related?" The question hung in the air. Then Mercy exhaled slowly, as though releasing a truth she had carried too long. "Long before you were born, your father told me the story himself, and I still see it clearly. A young girl, barely 18, maybe younger, sitting alone in a banking hall in Kaduna, silent, motionless, staring into nothing. Security had grown uneasy and alerted your father, then a floor manager of the bank. He and 2 security staffs approached her. What they discovered changed him forever. She had been strapped with an improvised device," Mercy said softly. "A child sent to destroy a bank she didn't even understand. But the device failed. By some miracle, it didn't go off. The investigation revealed the truth. Her village had been attacked by extremists years earlier. She was one of the abducted girls, a victim, not a villain. Her name was Amina Muhammad. Her father had died before she was born. She had no family, no home, only trauma and silence. The state government and the United Nations took custody of her, but Toyin couldn't walk away. He paid for everything, her schooling, her clothes, her food. He said it was compassion, but I know your father. He saw brilliance in her, a spark he couldn't ignore. People later called her his charm, because whenever she was near, things shifted for the better. She grew into an extraordinary woman, Stanford master's degree, sharp mind, fierce discipline. She became his protege, the one everyone whispered about. "I pushed her away," Amina admitted. "I was young, just married, insecure. I didn't understand their bond. Not romantic, just forged in trauma and gratitude. When she left, your father's life fell apart. The Morgan Bank he'd just started failed. But when she returned, everything changed. The bank grew, expanded. So when people gossip," Mercy concluded gently, "remember this. Amina is not just your father's protege. She is a survivor. And in a strange way,
She is part of our family's story, too." She paused, letting the truth settle. "That's the story I've carried for years, my dear."
A few years later, Chief Toyin Morgan received a devastating diagnosis: Stage 1 leukemia. For months, he had complained of constant fatigue and unexplained body pains. After several tests, the doctor explained that Toyin would need regular blood transfusions and possibly a bone marrow transplant if his condition worsened. The first major challenge was his blood type, AB negative, one of the rarest blood groups in the world. The doctor advised that the safest donors would be close relatives, parents, siblings, or children. Sadly, Toyin was an only child, and both his parents were long deceased. That left only his children, the twins, Segun and Lola. Hospital records showed that neither twin shared Toyin's blood group. Assuming the records might be outdated, doctors ordered fresh tests. The results were the same. Alarmed, the hospital's medical director sought Toyin's consent to run DNA tests on the twins. The truth was crushing. Toyin Morgan was not their biological father. Heartbroken but determined to survive, Toyin focused on his treatment. The hospital searched desperately for compatible blood. Shockingly, a single pack of AB-negative blood was found in the hospital's blood bank. When they traced the donor's identity, the name stunned everyone: Amina Mohammed. Years earlier, Amina had donated blood as part of the requirements imposed by investigators she hired to search for her missing mother. She had since resigned from Morgan Bank after a fallout with Mercy and Segun and disappeared without a trace. As Toyin's condition deteriorated, he was admitted into the hospital. Mercy sank into deep depression and was placed in a psychiatric facility. Segun spiraled into drug addiction and vanished. Lola struggled to keep what remained of the Morgan empire afloat while caring for the man she now knew was not her biological father. The Morgan family scandal dominated newspaper headlines. Meanwhile, Amina had found her mother and relocated to Melbourne, Australia. One quiet weekend, she read a newspaper article titled "The Rise and Fall of an African Tycoon, Toyin Morgan." The story linked Toyin's downfall to events shortly after her departure from the company. Overwhelmed with guilt, Amina tells her mother she must return to Lagos immediately. Her mother, confused and suspicious, insists on accompanying her. At the hospital, she broke down at the sight of her mentor. When she introduced her mother, the woman stared at Toyin and called out his old high school nickname, Skippy. Speaking in Hausa, she added, "Ola Toyin Mohammed, you're alive and never looked for me." Toyin froze. "Hawa?" Turning to Amina, her mother said softly, "This is your father. I was told he died years ago." Amina collapsed. The truth finally emerged. Toyin had changed his name at the university from Ola Toyin Mohammed to Toyin Morgan. He had been falsely told that Hawa and her baby died during childbirth. After the dust settled, Amina donated bone marrow to save her father's life. She reunited the fractured family, guided Segun into rehab, placed Lola in charge of the banks, and shut down wasteful estates. Under her leadership, the Morgan Group was restructured and rose again, stronger than before.